From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Welcome. You have reached the Badass Counseling Show. It's great to have you here, wherever you are tuning in from, whether it is Fargo, North Dakota, or way down under in Sydney, Australia. Perhaps you're over in the UK or up in Ontario. We are frying hot in the United States, or maybe you're down in South Africa. Wherever you tune in to the Badass Counseling Show from, we are so happy to have you here. We are live right this moment on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, and on Instagram. A few times a week, we get together with our whole staff here and we take questions live. As you know, Badass Counseling has about a couple million followers over on TikTok. We have about 500,000 followers on Facebook, about 165, 200,000 on Instagram, and then a few 100,000 across other platforms. And we're right now live, and you can join us at any other time that we do these lives. We usually advertise them, but right now we are live and taking questions. I am joined by my team in studio. I've got KC over in the booth. If you are live with us, you cannot see her. However, I've got Rob the Rocket next to me. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can see Rob. On other platforms, you cannot. Rob the Rocket, what say ye?
I'm in a good mood, Sven. I did a lot of work in my girlfriend's garage yesterday. I put in a cabinet on the wall, and I cleared some old shelves off the ceiling in this thing. And afterwards, I said, I know you care about me. You love me for who I am and not what I do, right? And she said, yeah, but would you please keep doing all that stuff?
Now shut up and get back to work.
Exactly.
Well, and then there should be, and so what's in it for me, love? Although the thing with you, Rob, is you're the chef, so it's not cooking. So what is it? Apart from lots of kisses, what is it?
She actually does a lot of cooking too, as a matter of fact.
Does she?
And is a great travel partner.
Ah, that's the best. That's the best. And she is a peach. I love her to death. Love her to death. All right, so folks, here we are. We're ready to get started, and we're taking the first question here from Virginia over on Facebook. Virginia asked the question, is it normal as you let down walls that anger comes out first, and then the sorrow and tears, and then repeat? No, that's not normal. There actually is no normal. As you let down the walls, Virginia, every single person is different. Okay. In fact, some people find that what they are used to letting out is what comes out first. So in some homes growing up, in many homes, there is a particular emotion that is not okay to be expressed. So in some homes, when I'm working with clients, and I've been counseling people for 30 years, in some homes with clients, it is not okay, in the homes that they grew up in, it was not okay to express sadness. The message was conveyed very clearly that sadness was not okay for the children to express. Maybe even the parents didn't express it and just be tough. Or maybe only, let's just say, mom was allowed to be sad. Okay? But sadness was not allowed. So when that person becomes an adult, they may be good at anger, they may be good at happiness, they may be good at other things. But when it comes to expressing pain, sadness, for a lot of men, for instance, it's almost impossible. So the anger will come out first. The anxiety will come out first, but the sadness might be last. In some homes, anger is never allowed. And anger, of course, inside of anger is that no. And anger is really an expression of my saying, no, this isn't fair. No, I don't want this. And so inside of no is the I. And very often finding our no, finding our anger is finding our sense of I. And so that wasn't allowed growing up. Well, in some homes, happiness isn't allowed. I have plenty of clients who are scared of getting happy as adults. Why? Because every time they had happiness, every time they had success, every time they had anything go well as a child, it was undermined, it was attacked, it was subverted. And so there is no accurate way. As you begin to let down the walls, as you begin to do the work on yourself, there is no what comes out first. What comes out is what comes out. And the more you begin to flush out this stuff, the more you begin to find more things come up. And the goal is to just keep doing it and let what comes out. All right, next question. I have got a question here from Oatmeal Wheat Germ Chocolate Chip. I love that name, over on Instagram, who says, my husband and I are now separated after the last discovery of a pattern of betrayals. Strangely, I still want to repair, but he says he doesn't know what he wants to do. How long should I wait? I'll be very, very honest with you here. All right. And the bottom line is, if you are waiting on him, you have already taken your eye off the ball. If you're waiting on him, you have already taken your eye off the ball. What you need to be doing in this case is you need to be doing the work of healing you, because you even you said, I still want to repair. Yes, but if your husband has a pattern of betrayals, I guarantee you inside of you, you have concerns about whether or not he can be trusted. You have fear, right? There is no way someone gets cheated on and they don't have fear. They don't have worries. And so you need to heal you first. And the more you work on you to get out your pain, your fears, your anxieties, your worries, the more you'll come into your own center. And the idea of how long to wait, or when to let him back, or whether or not you should even let him back, you will become clearer, because it will come inside of you. If you are dealing with betrayal, cheating in your own relationships, and you are keying into the other person, the person who cheated, you've already taken your eye off the ball. It's not whether or not they're in therapy. They should be in therapy on their own. If you're having to send them to therapy, run away. They should be seeing their own problem. And if your husband isn't in therapy on his own, oatmeal, wheat germ, chocolate chip, here on Instagram, if your husband is not in therapy, he is not going to change. I'm guaranteeing you that. Okay? No matter what his mouth is saying, he's not going to change, because there's a deeper issue. I strongly, strongly recommend that you read my book. Just came out a few months ago. It's already a top seller. The title is Cheating Sucks. Go to my website, badasscounseling.com. Read the book, because he needs to be in therapy. But most importantly, you need to be in therapy, not just to heal yourself from the cheating and from all that's going on inside of you and all those feelings that you're stuffing down and just saying, I just want him, I just want him, I just want him, because there are a whole lot of other feelings in there. But you've got stuff from your past. And the more you get that out, the clearer you will be able to see and think. All right. Next question. One Autino on Instagram says, brother, I am wrestling by being brainwashed against my father by a cruel liar of a mother. He committed suicide. I was blamed. When I discovered the truth later in life that he was a victim. You don't pose a question, so really, to be very honest with you, all I can say is I'm terribly sorry. And you must have a massive amount of anger inside of you and a massive amount of sadness inside of you, and I'm sure longing for your father as well, right? You have to begin the work of flushing out all of your pain, all of your fears, all of your anxiety, all of your frustration, all of your rage, potentially all of your hatred. You have to begin that work. You need pen, you need paper, and begin the work writing letters to your father, writing letters to your mother that you do not send. You have so much fucking pain inside of you. You have so much rage and sadness inside of you, and all of that has to come out. Otherwise, you are this swirling, storming mess of emotion inside of you, and that is when we make our worst decisions. That is the stuff that undermines us in life. All right, next question. Shiploaf on TikTok asked the question, how do I respond to a friend who expects me to defend them but doesn't defend me? My first question, if you and I were in counseling right now and you were my client, Shiploaf, is I would simply ask you the question, if I were to say to you, this is a non-actionable question, okay? You do not have to act on this, but I'm going to ask you a question. And the question is simply this: what do you most want to do? Okay? Not what do you most want to have happen? Like, what do you most want that person? Well, I want them to defend me. No, I'm not asking what you want to have happen. I'm asking what you most want to do. What action do you most want to take? And if you were to answer that in one sentence or less, what is that? If you can put that into one sentence or less, one sentence, what you most want to do, that's your answer. Because the truth is, I'm betting you've already said that to this person. I want you to defend me. And if you haven't said it to your friend, then you need to. And then you need to watch how they respond, because I am willing to bet if they are not defending you already and you put it out there, I want you to begin defending me. They're either going to blow it off. They're going to say, it's no big deal. They're going to say, I do. They're going to defend themselves somehow. If they're not already defending you, they're going to say, I do, or it's no big deal, get over it, or whatever. And that's your answer. Internally, you should be saying, thank you, you've just shown me who you are. And the truth is, it's going to make you sad. I think part of the reason, if you haven't told them yet that you want them to defend you, I think part of the reason you haven't told them is because you're afraid of what the answer is going to be. And the answer is that they are likely to just defend themselves. They are likely to just say, it's no big deal. What are you talking about? And then you will know that they genuinely don't prioritize you. But you may actually have a good friend. I said to a friend of mine once, he was a guy I'd gone to seminary with, he was a Catholic priest, a very good friend of mine. And I had said to him once, I'll just call him Steve. Steve, I am constantly asking you questions. I'm constantly counseling you and so on and so forth, but you rarely ask about me. And it was very hard for me to get up the courage to do this. I was back in my early 30s. And we were at lunch one day, and he sat there and he said, you know what, Sven, you're right. You're right. I've been unintentionally taking advantage of your generosity of spirit, and I need to invest more in you. And it's like, fuck me, that's a friend. That's a friend who cares enough to see that he hadn't been carrying his share of the weight. Way up in, I had an old clergy buddy. He was a friend of my father's, and an old Finnish guy who grew up in in the UP of Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. And he was Finnish, and up there was Finn country. In fact, they still have a Finnish university, Sami College, right? And he said, Sven, back in the old days, back in the 20s and 30s and 40s when I was growing up, that was logging country. And back then, they didn't have electric saws. They had hand saws. And men would man these saws. And the giant saws were two-man saws. And there'd be one guy at one end of the saw and another guy at the other end of the saw. Maybe it was a 10-foot saw or 12-foot saw or however long they were. And these saws would be so big and that you can't push those saws, he would say. You can't push a 10-foot saw through a tree. It takes a guy on each end pulling. So I pull, and then you pull, and then I pull, and then you pull. And that's what good therapy is. That's what a good friendship is. That's what a good relationship is of any sort. That we are each pulling. We are each investing in the work of the relationship to get the work done. So you've got to ask yourself, in your friendships, in your love relationships, in your marriage, whatever it is, are you doing your share of the pulling? When you are in therapy, are you doing your share of the pulling? Are you investing? Are you going deeper in your self-work? Are you doing your share of the work? All right, next question. Ashley then asked a question, similar, also a friend question. Ashley asked the question over there also on TikTok. How can I be a friend to someone when I don't agree with their actions like cheating? Ashley, if I were counseling you right now, if we were in session, I would look you straight in the face and I would say, if you were to be totally honest with me, recognizing that your friend is cheating, and clearly you've talked about it, all right? I assume you've talked about it, and you say to me, yeah, we've talked about it. I would ask you this question. Recognizing that your friend is cheating and that is a moral issue for you that you disagree with, what percent do you still want to be their friend? Knowing that you have a moral issue with it and obviously they don't and they have no interest in changing. What percent? Put an exact number on it and you cannot say 50-50. You cannot. That's just the most wishy-washy shit. Take a stand. You can choose any other number other than 50%. What percent do you still want to be their friend? And there's your answer. How do you do it? You let it go. I mean, if you really want to be their friend that much, you understand that this is a moral difference that you have. But maybe it's a more that they have and that you're okay with it and that you can let it go. But maybe it's a moral difference that they have that you can't let it go. And so either A, maybe you need to cut off the relationship, or B, maybe you need to create space without cutting it off. But that's a decision only you can make. But it sounds like when you have a difference with someone, you have to basically, and you still want to stay in relationship with that someone, you have to take your focus off of that. I grew up with parents, for instance. My father was a Lutheran pastor. 4 of my uncles were Lutheran pastors. My mother taught at the graduate level in the field of early childhood education in seminaries, for instance. And so it was a big part of our life. And yet my parents grew up with the absolute belief, they were World War II generation, we don't discuss religion or politics in public. Hell, it was rarely discussed in home. Okay. There are certain things we don't need to discuss. Now, if you need to discuss it, maybe it's not an issue even of discussing. You just dislike the fact that your friend is cheating. All right? Then maybe you need to pull away and end the friendship. But it sounds like your friend has no interest in changing, even if it costs them the friendship. And unfortunately, sometimes that's the way it is. All right, next question. Uncertain Quest on Instagram asks the question, I'm trying to rebuild after a very long and controlling marriage. It's been months and the divorce is final. I am having trouble finding motivation to seek better. I'm not sad, just stalled out. And that makes total sense. You said you had a long and controlling marriage and it's been months and the divorce is final. All right. I assume you mean months since the divorce is final. So you've had a long marriage and it's just been months since the divorce was final. All right. It takes time to get over shit. The longer the marriage, the longer the relationship, the longer it takes to get over it. And I have a young man that I counsel from the American South, the Deep South, and he and I had a conversation just a couple hours ago. It's one of the freebies that I do, and he grew up rural, Deep South poor. And this kid has scratched and clawed, and he is into his senior year of college, and the kid's amazing. He's got like a 3.5, 3.7, and he's taken all like biochem and fucking physics and shit. Crazy, right? And the truth is, you know, he had a series of setbacks this year that were very just debilitating. And he's like, you know, Sven, why am I not happy and enjoying the summer? I said, well, you didn't get the internship you wanted. You lost 2/10 of a point on your GPA, which I know is huge for you and so forth. I said, it's a setback when you're 21. That's a huge setback for a guy who works so hard. And at times in life, we have to give ourselves permission to not just grieve, but just rest. Just rest. You're coming out of a long and controlling marriage and you're trying to come up with motivation to seek better. How about just giving yourself room to fucking breathe? How about giving yourself permission to just be? Not all of life is do. Rob, you came out of a relationship, a long marriage and so forth, and then came out of cancer. How much of your life did you need to give yourself permission to just be?
Better part of a year, at least. And then it's still ongoing when you get back into the real swing of things.
Yeah. Yeah. And the truth is, you just got to give yourself room. You got to read your body. You've got to read your energy. You've got to read your system. You've got to give yourself permission to be. As well as you need to be flushing out, using journaling, writing letters you don't send to your ex, flushing out all the feelings. Keep flushing. Journaling is so critical to that process. All right, next question. Here we go. Donnell asked the critical question then. Donnell asked the question then on TikTok. Sven, you say write letters and not send. Why not get it out to the people that hurt us? The truth is, Donnell, you can do that. In the end, I don't give a shit. You want to do it? Do it. Fuck it. I was the guy that sent those letters, all right? Especially to my first wife. Oh my God, she was separated and then she divorced me. I sent letter after letter and I promised this and I promised that. And oh my God. And I love you so much and all these things. But the truth is this. First of all, there's nothing wrong with sending the letters. But generally, if you're sending the letters, most of the time, not always, if you are sending the letters, it's because you still want something from that person. Whether it's that boss that fired you or your former lover, or if you're writing that rage letter at your parents or whatever it is, you're still wanting something from them. I had someone just today that I was texting with during the middle of my workout. They had DM'd me. I get about 1,000 DMs and voice messages and texts and emails a week. I try to answer what small fraction I can. And I was in the middle of my workout and I wasn't journaling. Normally I journal during my workout, but this time I thought, I'll answer some people's questions. So I was DMing with someone and this person said, I sent the letters to my parents and once you know, sure as shit, my parents denied everything. I said, yeah, but that's the mere fact that you sent the letters and that you're pissed that they denied everything says you wanted them to acknowledge everything. You sent the letters hoping for acknowledgement, hoping for confirmation that they would validate your story. And anytime and I had to tell this person this, anytime you want something from someone, they have power over you. Anytime I want something, even if it's for them to validate my story, even if it's for them to get angry at me, even if it's for them to say, I'm sorry or whatever it is, They have the power over me because they have the power to withhold that which I want. They have the power to make me miserable by withholding that which I want. And so the reason I say write the letters is because the goal is to get the pain out, the pain, the fears, and the bullshit beliefs you've been taught to believe about yourself. And that is done in the letter writing. Now, some people do it simply because they want the other person to know. They want the parent or the lover or the boss or the friend to know. But if you are wanting something in return, and you got to dig deep and ask yourself, am I wanting something in return? Because if you're wanting something in return, then you're giving that person the power to say, fuck off. And then you're going to be even more fucking miserable. And in all likelihood, you already know in advance what their response is going to be. You already know in advance if they're going to deny, deflect, dodge, or defend, right? So you're just putting your nuts in a fucking grinder if you're going to walk into that one, all right? Or you can just, the goal is to flush. That's why I tell people don't send it. And so you can send it if you want, but you're likely not going to get what you want, whereas the goal is just to flush it all out. And we'll be right back answering more questions right after this short break.
I cheated on my husband, and for a long time, I didn't know how to fix the wreck I'd made of our lives. I found a book, Cheating Sucks. It's actually written for people who were cheated on. I thought it would just be about blame, but it was actually the key to healing myself. It taught me how to understand why I did it, how to have true compassion for the pain I caused, and gave me the courage to finally be totally open with him. If you are struggling on either side of infidelity, Cheating Sucks changed everything for me. Get it at badasscounseling.com today, available as audiobook and paperback.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
All right, we are back with more questions here. I've got a quick one here on Facebook. Then we've got a couple we're going to take over there on YouTube from Rob. Patricia is asking a question. Patricia commented actually on a video today. I remember that name. And but she asked the question, will he ever realize he was the problem and the reason he cheated, or will he blame you forever? He also blames me for our boys not speaking to him. He cannot see how he treated us all. Patricia, isn't it fascinating? I love that last sentence that you said there. I'm going to read this back to you guys. Listen to the last sentence and what makes her last sentence unique. Listen to this. She says, will he ever realize he was the problem and the reason he cheated, or will he blame me forever? He also blames me for our boys not speaking to him. Here's the last sentence. He cannot see how he treated us all. Do you hear that? He cannot. That implies he's unable. Patricia wants to believe that he's unable, like he's passive. Trisha is defending him by fundamentally saying he's just not able. No. Right? Because she would prefer to believe he's unable than to believe he doesn't fucking care, that he's an asshole. I would rather believe he's unable than to believe he's an asshole. Even her first sentence, will he ever realize? That implies he doesn't realize. Again, you're making him passive. You're making him like naive, like this innocent Bambi in the woods. Patricia, he fucking knows. Will he ever realize he's the problem? He already knows. And the reason he cheated, or will he blame you forever? He will blame you forever, Patricia. Why the fuck? And I'm saying this having been a cheater, having been cheated on in 2 long-term adult relationships. This is why I wrote the book, Cheating Sucks. It's to walk you through this fucking healing process, all right? Will he blame you forever? Yes. He also blames me for our boys not speaking to him. Of course. And you want to know, and then you say he cannot see how he treated us all. Oh, he fucking sees it. He fucking sees it, guaranteed. He's going to blame you forever. And you want to know why? Because he can. He is going to fucking make you look as bad as he can. Why? Because there's no fucking way in hell he's going to make himself look bad. In front of the jury of your peers, your friends, in front of the jury of family, in front of the jury, especially of your boys. No fucking way is he going to risk all of that. Which is why, if you are not providing a counter message, at least defending yourself. You don't have to disparage him. That's up to you, but at least You have to provide a counter message, protecting yourself, defending yourself, because if you do not, your sons, depending on their age, will believe him. Why? There's no counter message. They have no reason not to. Take it from someone who has been in your shoes, who did not provide a counter message. Will he ever realize? He already does. Will he blame you forever? Yes. And he'll blame you for your boys not speaking to him. Yes, that's right. He cannot see how he treated us all. Oh, he definitely sees us. And Patricia, so what you need to do is you need to get out all your pain. You need to get out all your fucking rage. You need to read the book, Cheating Sucks. I'm fucking telling you. Get it on the website, badasscounseling.com. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, Sven, over on YouTube, Andrea asks, how can I support my son to journal, please? I've messed up when he was younger. I've made him write as a punishment 100 times the same sentence so he will learn. Now I know it was a fucked up thing to do.
Yeah, he probably has some pretty serious negative associations with writing. And I presumably you're wanting him to journal so as to get it out. You don't say what his age is, Andrea, right? Andrea, you don't say what his age is. One of the things you're probably going to have to sort of backdoor this one. You're wanting him to do this to help with his healing. You may want to backdoor it by just sending him, for instance, a few of my videos. All right. If he's a guy and he's young, he may appreciate the sort of brash approach, the swearing, sort of raw. And, you know, because I'm regularly talking about journaling and writing letters, you may find that will be sort of the slow walk of getting it inside his sort of psyche. The other thing that you might try, though, Andrea, is rather than journaling, teach him or just recommend it gently. Don't push. Don't push, because the more we push kids, young people, the more we say, oh, you should. When you say you should, you're fundamentally saying to the kid, I don't like you the way you are. You need to be better. I want you to be this, which means I don't like this version of you, right? It hurts if you're on the receiving end of that, even if that's not the intent, okay? What you may recommend, though, is you say, hey, son, I just have an idea. You don't have to do it. It's probably a dumb idea. Throw it in the trash. And when you set it up like that, that removes all pressure. All right. And somebody is far more likely to do it when there's no pressure, especially someone who's maybe used to being pushed or fixed. Okay. And what you say to him is, son, if I can make one recommendation, write letters that you don't send to the people that you're angry at or hurt by, especially me. If you are mad at me or upset by me, I know I've done a lot to hurt you. Write me letters that you don't send. Flush it out. Swear at me. Call me the most mean names. Get it all out of your system.
He is 16.
He's 16 years old. And the other thing you need to do, Andrea, I would strongly recommend that you go to Christmas of this last year or the year before. And I posted a video that I post every Christmas, and I'm sitting outside, and I'm in the snow. I got a bomber jacket on, and it's titled something like 7 Things You Can Do to Help Your Adult Child Heal. Now, your child is not an adult, but you want to watch that video because that's going to get you started going down the right road. The other thing you should do is read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. All right. It's available at badasscounseling.com. All right. I'm going to take one here on Instagram, Rob, then back to you. Okay. Hi, Helga from Iceland. How to know where to start when you don't feel like you deserve anything good, but you want to start healing and breaking generational trauma. I'm going to be straight up with you here, Helga. All right. Great name, by the way. Love that name. Helga, I'm going to strongly recommend that what I just told to Andrea, get the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, okay? Now, I don't know how your English is, but guess what? It doesn't matter because we have a Swedish translation, and I know it's in the Scandinavian, roughly the languages are similar, so whether you want the English or the Svenska, it's available at badasscounseling.com. But what that's going to do, it's going to hold your hand and walk you down the path of how to heal from this. Because if you feel like you don't deserve anything good, what that means is you've got voices inside of you. You've got messages that got pressed into the very wet cement of your soul when you were very young. And those messages embedded themselves, and they became the virus infecting the operating system of your computer, of yourself. And they're so deeply embedded in there that you actually think those messages are you, but they never were. Those messages have to come out, okay? And that's what the book is for. There's a Hole in My Love Cup. I'm serious. Get the fucking book. And like I said, the translations are right there on the website, badasscounseling.com, on the books page. All right, next question. Rob?
Yes, Sven. On YouTube again, CND Lena says, been back at my parents for a bit during a transition phase of my life. And mom has gone back to treating me like she used to with emotional abuse, manipulation, etc. Now, I'm grateful for her, so I hesitate to really stand up for myself. She wouldn't hesitate to tell me to leave. Do I confront her or wait until I'm gone, if at all?
Okay, the question is, Lena, do you have the courage to make it work if she asks you to leave or tells you to leave? Because the bottom line is your mom's a bully, all right? And the only way a bully changes is by getting punched in the nose, metaphorically speaking in this case, okay? Your mom is going to completely bully you, and I am willing to bet, Lena, that you knew it before you went into this situation. I'm not trying to be a dick, but you knew. Come on, let's be honest. Your mom, however old you are, let's just say you're 34, you have a 34-year pattern of behavior of your mom acting the exact same way every single fucking time, and she, true to form. Your mom's not going to fucking change. You have no choice but to stand up to her. And the reason she has to throw you out is because the family myth exists to protect the person at the top of the food chain. And the family myth says mom is boss, and the family myth says mom is right, and you're wrong, and you're bad, and mom's good. And if you go against that, and she has to reject you. She has to turn other family members on you if necessary. Why? Because it threatens her. It threatens her identity. So she actually fears you, Lena. You have to understand this. She fears you. She fears the truth that you hold. She fears the power that you have, because you have the power to take her identity from her by standing up and saying, no, the way you treat people is not okay. You are a hurtful person, Mom. She fears you speaking the truth because that undermines her own sense of identity. Like when I was talking to Patricia about Patricia's husband, him saying, no, you're wrong, you're at fault, it's all you, it's all you. Her standing up and standing up for her truth undermines his version of reality that he has to protect to say, hey, I'm good, when clearly, no, he's a shitbag. All right? Your mom's a fucking asshole. All right? And she's afraid of you. You have all the power. You just don't realize it. And you're terrified of being out on your ass on your own. And trust me, I've been there, okay? I get it. I had good parents, but I had to stay with my parents for sometimes. I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this may be, this is a make or break time. So for now, maybe you just got to grit your teeth and bear it. But if you stand up to her, you're going to be out on your ass. And so you've got to be willing to do that. But there's only so much shit a person can eat. And that's the other side of it. All right, next question. Okay, Bookish Mama asked the question, is there an audiobook version? Yes, there are audiobook versions. We have an audiobook of the German, narrated by Alex, dear friend of mine, good friend over in Germany. I narrated the English version. I forget if we have a narrated version of the Swedish. I don't think we do. It was actually translated by a wonderful woman from Småland, Sweden, which is where my people are from. My people are from Småland and Skåne, and so it's written with a Småland Skåne dialect. She's from Skåne, excuse me. All right, here we go. Brittany on Instagram says, my husband and I are starting couples therapy today. Kind of nervous. Neither have been in therapy. I don't know what to expect. Should I have any questions for the therapist? I'll be very honest with you. My first question is, why are you guys in couples therapy? Nothing wrong with it. I'm just curious why. And my second question would be, is it because of cheating? And if it's because of cheating, the last place you should be is in couples therapy. Okay. But I'm betting it's not because of cheating, because usually if there's cheating, that's the first thing that comes out of somebody's mouth. But if you're in couples therapy, yeah, I think what you should say to the therapist is, we are here because of X, Y, and Z. And I think you need to ask yourself the question of why you are there and what you hope to have happen. And I would never go to a therapist that doesn't get results. And I would say to your therapist, do you get results? What are the results that we can expect? If we follow your guidelines, will we get results? And they're going to say, well, nobody guarantees results. You want to bet? I do. You want results? I guarantee it. I'll even sign a fucking document saying, I'll give you your fucking money back. Of course you can get results. Now, but rarely will you find a therapist who does. But the question is, there's so many fucking questions, but yeah, couples therapy, Jesus. I would have to know what you're wanting to accomplish. That would actually help me. All right, next question. 007 says, Sven, am I a jerk? No. Sven, am I a jerk that I'm kind of glad my mom has Alzheimer's? Wasn't the best mom because she never dealt with her trauma. I'm glad she doesn't have to remember anymore. Tired of her crying about it. Ah, there it is. That last sentence, tired of her crying about it. Are you a jerk? No. The truth is you're expressing a feeling. The thing, you guys, you got to understand, feelings are morally neutral. There are no bad feelings. So if you tell a child they're bad for feeling hatred, or they're bad for feeling sad, or they're bad for feeling happy, go fuck yourself. There are no bad feelings. Feelings are a natural response to an external stimulus. And the truth is, there can be different feelings to a stimulus. I was out to dinner once with my girlfriend when we first met. It was her family. I think one of my kids was in from out of town, and we were at a restaurant in New York City. And I was sitting at the end of the table, and I had my backpack on the back of my chair. Okay. And I stood up for the toast, skål, skål, skål. We're all toasting. And they weren't saying skål. They say whatever the fucking Italians say, right? What do the Italians say? Prost? No, that's the Germans. Salute. And I say skål. And then we all go to sit down. Well, what happens if you have a backpack on the back of your chair and it's a wooden chair that's poorly weighted? I all of a sudden go to sit down and I start stumbling backwards because the backpack had tipped over my chair, and I go stumbling. And I used to be a wrestler, so my balance is pretty good. I go back 10 feet. I hadn't fallen over. I'm stumbling, trying to catch myself. I slammed through the kitchen door. No shit. Partly into the kitchen, and I finally fall on my ass. Now, as you might imagine, I get up. I'm not hurt, but I'm fucking embarrassed as shit. And I walk back to the table, and my little snot-nosed peckerhead fucking daughter-in-law, right? Stepdaughter-in-law, whatever, stepdaughter, she's laughing. Same stimulus, different response. Now, I love that kid to death. I love both my stepdaughters to death, all right? But I turned to her and I said, it's not nice to laugh when somebody falls. And she bit her lip and she sucked it up and so forth. And out of respect, you just don't laugh when somebody potentially hurts himself, right? But the bottom line is, her response was okay. You might hold that one in because you don't laugh when somebody falls on the ice or breaks their hip or something like that. Same stimulus, different responses. So there's no right or wrong feeling. Now, how you express it, yes. So the truth is, back to this question, am I a bad person because mom died? And you said, basically, I'm tired of her crying about it. In other words, I don't have to feel her shit. She's not dumping her shit onto me, and I feel relieved. Am I a bad person? No, you have a feeling. So what? That's okay to feel what you feel. Nothing wrong with that. That's okay. And the truth is, folks, this never becomes more important than when you're talking about the word hate. So many people say to their kids, oh, don't talk about hate. Hate's a big word. Hate is bad. No, it's not. It is a natural response to a stimulus. And the truth is, how you act, if you go punch someone in the face because of hate or shoot them, yeah, then it's bad. But the feeling isn't bad. It's what you do with it. But so many people say hate bad, but it's morally neutral. It's just a feeling. So if you allow yourself to get it out in a healthy way, such as journaling, such as writing letters you don't send, now that hate is not out inside you anymore. It's out of you. It's done. You've purged it. But if you say, oh, it's bad, then what are you going to do? You're going to stuff that feeling down inside of you. Then you're going to stuff down more hate, and which is a natural response to bad things being done to you or hurtful things happening to you in your life. That means you're walking around with all this hate stuffed down inside of you. So you are technically a hater. If you are not getting that hate out in a healthy way, you are technically a hater because you are carrying it around. Do you understand that? So at what point do you do yourself a favor of healing? So all these people walking around with big old smiles on their face, fake smiles saying, oh, it's a sunny day. Oh, I'm so happy. No, you're not. You got so much fucking rage inside of you. Get it the fuck out so you can walk around with actual peace. All right. All right. Next one. MOIDYBUTPASITE on TikTok. Hell of a handle there. How do you bring more spark and personality and excitement in your life? Do you really think I need more? I'm sorry, I'm a disappointment. Oh, you meant for you. Okay. How do you bring more spark and personality and excitement in your life after life does its thing? You don't. You don't. The challenge to becoming more alive. And this is why I love the books by Shakti Gawain. She was a sort of a new agey author back in the 70s and 80s. It sold 7-8 million books. All right. One of her books, Living in the Light, is one of my Bibles, Shakti Gawain. And she talks about the idea of aliveness. What we're all really seeking is the experience of aliveness, to feel really alive, which is really what you're talking about. More spark, personality, and excitement. But you don't do it by trying to experience more spark, personality, and excitement. You don't become more happy by doing more happy things. You become happier by getting out all the crud inside. And this is why I tell people, if you never remember a single fucking thing I say, remember this one thing, that you will change your life if you just go inside and get out the pain, the fears, and the bullshit beliefs you've been taught to believe about yourself, which is why I wrote the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, to just keep flushing out the crud. Why? Because it's just like in the northern states in springtime. All the leaves and all the snow and the ice and the pack that has formed on your lawn and in your gardens, it keeps down those perennials. But if you rake that shit out of there, that crud from summer out of there, the jonquils and the lilies and the daffodils and the lily of the valley and the irises and the peonies, they will grow up effortlessly. Your personality and your excitement and your spark will grow effortlessly. All you have to do is get out all the crud that's been packed inside of you all those years. All right, I've got room for one more question, then we're going to shut it down. I'm going to take one more question here, maybe two if I can fit it in. How do I forgive myself? This is Cool Me over on Instagram. How do I forgive myself for my part in keeping my kids in a shit show? I have addressed it with them already. My mother died at the age of 73. She raised 6 kids, and she shared with me that she didn't forgive herself. She felt so much guilt. And you guys heard me say it before. One of the marks of a good parent is guilt. Because so many parents don't reflect on their behavior. They don't reflect on how they are treating their children, on their parenting. They just say, I'm a good parent. I'm a good parent. I'm a good parent. They don't ever reflect. They don't ever change. They don't ever grow. They don't ever go deep inside. So guilt is actually a good thing. But to learn from my mother, this old woman who taught, at the graduate level, early childhood education, specialized in children and so forth, raised 6 of her own, had miscarriages, had a few stillbirths, whatever. She said, I wish I'd forgiven myself sooner. How do you do it? You write letters to your children that you do not send, and you keep writing them until the pain, until the guilt, until all the sorrow is out of you. You journal about it and keep flushing it out. And then eventually at some point you say, I have paid that any crime I have done, I have paid my dues. And it's time to let go. You want to know why? Because you're fucking over your children by not forgiving yourself. Because you are carrying a burden and they are seeing a mother who is heavy. They are seeing a father who is heavy with that burden. So you're robbing them of a light and happy parent. You owe them that. You owe it to yourself because you're not showing them what happiness is. And that's one more responsibility that you have to your children. All right. I have room for one more question. And here it is. Kamikaze Chris asks a question, and the question is simply this: how do I get my girlfriend to take her bipolar medications again? She don't feel like the way it makes her feel. Yeah, this is an issue with a lot of people. I am not a psychologist, and I don't answer psychology questions, all right? However, you're not asking a psychology question. You're fundamentally asking, how do I get someone I love to do something I want them to do that I believe is in their best interest? And in this case, clearly the doctors believe it's in her best interest. But she doesn't want to because she doesn't like how it makes her feel. The simple fact of the matter is, all you can do is love them. All we can do is love and support the people that we love. That's all we can do. And in the end, they have full autonomy to be who the fuck they are. And if I don't like who the fuck they are, or if it hurts me, maybe I have to move on. But I can't make someone be who I want them to be. And this is what it means to live in a fully supportive relationship. I just want you to be who you need to be. And in my relationship with my girlfriend, my biggest responsibility is to help her become who the fuck she feels called to be. And she feels her calling to support me in becoming whoever the fuck I feel called to be. And if that ever leads us apart, it leads us apart. We both acknowledge that. And does that make it always easy? No, but it's always a fucking ride, and we enjoy each other. But I just want her to become the fullest version of herself. Have you ever seen those great trees like down in the southern part of the United States, or these giant oaks, or these great trees that they grow in every direction, and you just want to climb on them because it has these giant branches that are just awesome? Have you ever seen those? That's what someone is who has allowed themselves to become their fullest self. They have these gorgeous branches going in every direction. They just are who they are. Your responsibility is to support your girlfriend to be who she fully is. And if that's who she feels called to be, then that's who she is. And either you choose to accept that or not. There's no right or wrong answer. You can be whoever the fuck you want. You don't want to support it? Don't support it. Move on. But don't shame her. That's not your right. She has a right to live her life her way. You have a right to live your life your way. Do you hate it when people tell you what the fuck to do? I fucking hate it when people tell me what to do. I'm a grown-ass fucking man. Back the fuck off. All right? I make my decisions, and so your job is to just love her. And if you can't love her the way she is, then don't shame her, but maybe you need to move on. Otherwise, you love her, you support her, and say, you know what, love, I support you. I think you're the fucking best, and I'm honored. I am so lucky to be with you every fucking day I get to be. This has been a live taping of the Badass Counseling Show. We have been live on Instagram. Only the second time we have taped on Instagram, and it's fantastic. We got so many questions coming on Instagram. It's awesome to have so many of my followers there from Instagram and new people joining us from Instagram. If you are looking for my videos, my social videos, they are on the thumbnails on the homepage. I've got over 2,000 there. I think we're approaching about 2,500 there. We're live on Instagram. We've got about 165,000 followers there, about 500,000 followers on Facebook. We're live on Facebook. 2.1 million followers there on TikTok, and 50,000-ish, whatever it is, over on YouTube. It's been great having everyone here. Thank you for all your questions. Rob, any final thoughts today?
A couple of follow-ups to our question. So you shouldn't tell your kid to write 100 times, I must start journaling. Is that what I understand?
If you were to tell your child, probably not. If you were to tell your child, though, I want you to write 100 times how much you hate my guts and I piss you off, the kid might actually like it, right? Because it's like, I hate you so much, Papa. I hate you so much, Papa. You're such a jerk, Papa. And that might actually feel good. They might actually see the value in it. But if, to your point, no, probably not the best idea.
All right. Always good when looking on the bright side.
And that was Andrea or that was Lita that said that one? I think that one was Lita or Lena.
That was Andrea.
Andrea. So, Andrea, we're just having a little fun. That was a great question. You're a good mom. You got good things going.
Right. And then about laughing when someone hurts themselves. Is it okay to laugh at the Three Stooges?
Of course.
Why, certainly.
Why, certainly. Of course. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the Badass Counseling Show. We tape them almost every single week, and we love your questions. To all of our friends down under, to our friends across Asia, Japan, Singapore, who are regularly tuners-inners across Scandinavia, thanks so much for tuning in. And for all your great questions, go to the website, get the books, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, and Cheating Sucks. Slay your demons. Healing doesn't have to take a long time. Have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.